Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock, practicing necromancer, Godfrey 524. Welcome and hello back. Today, I want to kind of discuss a little bit about warfare. Warfare is waged on three levels: spiritual, physical, and mental. Now, I'm going to break these down for you to help some of you, or most of you, depending on what you're seeking, to understand. The two applications here is offensive and defensive magic. Okay, sorcery within offensive purposes are for protections, reflections, reversals, wardings and seals, works of invisibility, for an example, to help you maneuver the proverbial minefields of day to day life. Things like protections can be used for, say, for an example, protecting your home, your family, your business, if you will. All of this plays into effect. Offensive techniques are used for jinxes, hexes, curses, things that will hinder or remove obstacles from your life. Okay, this includes adversaries or opponents at work. You know, people, coming at you through finances and business type applications that will affect your family. Like say the mortgage of a bank, or say for an example, corrupt. Let's go with law enforcement officials. We've all seen those videos. Things like that that would require you to go on the offensive and really have to either teach them a lesson, give them bad luck to hinder them, or to simply remove these obstacles as threats. Now, the more mental or emotional aspects of mundane life, these are corrupted and corroded over time if you're not kept in balance. Okay, and what do I mean by balance? Let's look at your chakras for an example. The chakra in Kundalini, from the root to the crown, has its purposes. When all of these items are in unison, healthy, functioning, well maintained, things go great. You are balanced, you're focused, your lifestyle's increasing. Think of all the positivity that you can muster throughout day to day life. But if you're not maintaining these through, say, meditation, self reflection, dealing with the strifes of day to day life, let's say for an example, you get written up at work, or you lose your job due to emotional outbursts, or say for an example, you just simply failed, within, say, positive manners. Okay, let's say for an example, you're moody, you're unstable. This causes irritability, within the workplace. So one person's attitude towards the job can affect multiple people. If you don't believe me, put it to the test and see what happens. Okay. The more negative that you are, it eventually starts waning on others, coworkers and customers. And before long, the customers start giving the company or the business a bad rep, and eventually the higher ups are going to have to take notice and intervene, which again would limit you as the practitioner because of the fact that if you're not keeping things healthy and imbalanced, in a balanced state, then it will hinder you, not just your clientele. So, defensive techniques really do work, like meditations, reflections, on day-to-day pains. So the minor irritations, like say you have hostile customers, this really wanes on you, and it's not physical pain. It's really not. It's more mental or emotional, but you push it to the back of your mind. Now, let's say for an example, you go weeks without dealing with it. Eventually, you're going to get worn down. You're going to have exhaustion, tired. You're going to be irritable, and it's going to start affecting other aspects of your life. Like, say, for an example, it's going to affect your family life. It's going to affect your relationships with your friends, if you're lucky enough to have them. Um, it's going to affect your coworkers. It's going to affect your job, and it's going to affect a lot of different areas over time. And eventually, you're going to be forced to deal with it or lose everything. Okay, so operation um, of chakras is, and maintaining them is very important to your life, for your health on all levels. Now, what's ironic here is that you can even employ items such as black salt. Okay, and there's a lot of different ways to create black salt. And this is used for hexcraft, it is used for wealth, it is used for prosperity, um, purifying, you name it, it's there. It comes down to your individual need in that case. This is an item that you can do through alchemy. It's simplistic. Charcoal discs, salt. I'd recommend sea salt to you. It's the purest stuff on earth. If you can't get that, then you can go with Himalayan pink salt. You can go with gray salt, generic salt, things that would help you purify your temple, your home. Sea salt baths are very, very good, for healing and everything. For baths, specifically that of spiritual baths, I would recommend a sea salt bath, one mixed in with paprika and cinnamon, ground cinnamon. This not only removes the toxins from your body, but it purifies your body as well. If you had some kind of muscle strain, for an example, the paprika will actually help remove that, whereas the cinnamon will help heal you. Anything to do with mints, any type of mint is made for healing and immune boosters. Um, Lemons, for an example, are great for um, purifying the blood, preventing buildup of stones within the gallbladder and the kidneys, for an example, if you drink lemon juice. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to maintain your body. And relaxation is a big thing. I recommend candles, a single candle when you go into soak, purify daily, every other day if you really want to, once a week. But black salt is something that you could actually place on your windows, in front of your door. It's much like gopher dust, gopher powder, and hoodooism, which keeps out negativity. It keeps out, those that wish you ill intent, and it literally keeps away evil. But it's also a thing that's used for protection, which is kind of cool because of the fact that when you utilize this, you have a lot of different areas that it will manifest. So if you're looking to improve business, if you're looking to improve your family life, if you're, if you want to improve your spiritual life, black salt is one of the main items that I recommend to people, especially my own clients. Now, what's ironic here is that when you're creating black salt, like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of things you can put into it. For an example, cumin, it's great for loyalty, trust, and binding aspects. There's star anise, for an example, that you can add in to make the color density more vibrant, if you will. Things that is similar to charcoal if you can't get a hold of it. Um, let's go with hyssop for that is similar to sage. Be used for can be used for purification processes, and that of say ash, which is good for say for an example lavender, clove. You can use bay leaves, former incense, ash, graveyard ash. If you can get your hands on the ash of say bones or that of say animals, things that when you have say for an example, what's the term there? When a body is burned, your body is really goes into ash mode, and it's broken down into ash, and you can actually utilize this for protection and various different rites. Mint is used for keys and stuff like that, which is opening the roads. Hyssop is great for protection, purification. Rosemary is a really great thing for the feminine archetype because of the fact that it helps with improving the mind. It improves the protection and the potency of the protection. So there's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of things you can add in. Now, personally, selenite shards is something that I recommend because not many people use it. As far as I know, there's at least 3 people that use it. And personally, for me, I actually like the coloration of it when it gets mixed in with the graveyard dirt, especially that of, say, charcoal. When you have everything mixed in, it kind of gives it that salt and pepper look, if you will. On one hand, it's got your blackness of the salt, but on the other hand, you got these little shards of kind of a grayish white that's mixed into it. So it's kind of like a salt and pepper type look. I really like that look. And like I said, there's a lot of different things you can do. Now, you can also use seals, gems, things that would benefit you to help you heal, help you protect yourself, help to keep yourself cloaked from attacks. One of the things that I recommend is don't spread your intent, not until it's already manifested. Okay? This will help prevent and limit spiritual attacks. Now, spiritual attacks are a whole nother thing because it could come from any different manners, different aspects from, say, for example, a coworker trying to undermine you, okay, to your employer sitting there lying right to your face about terminating somebody when in fact they're still there, you know. So you got the lying aspects, you got the undermining aspects. All of this plays into effect. But if you don't have that loyalty, this is also another form of physical attack. Now, physical and spiritual attacks are very common, and I'm going to tell you why. On one hand, the spiritual attacks are coming from other practitioners, those who are jealous of you, those who don't have the potential to derive their own practices or to formulate their own benefits. Okay. So Out of jealousy, they lash out, they attack you, okay? So this comes into forms of spiritual attack. You've heard of the shield of faith, the sword, the flaming sword. You've heard the fiery darts. These are three aspects of religious type of offensive and defensive tactics that are used. When you do remote viewing, astral projection, in Santeria and Pero Mayambi, there's a form of spiritual attack that is called astral projection because you have to go into the belief is that you have to go into the astral to weaken things from the physical world. Okay, this is why it's always important to attack your opponent if you're on the offensive, and when they're in their Z state of mind. This is normally between midnight and 3 a.m. when they're in their most dense and heavy amount of sleep. The slumber aspect. This is when the best time is for what they refer to as the devil's hours, okay? The witch's hours, if you will. Now, the best way to do this is to go in through meditation and that of the void meditation, if you will, because it allows you to go into much, much deeper aspects. From there, you utilize what is known as remote viewing. This is where you visualize an object either in another room, in another state, in another apartment, wherever, and you're picturing these darts, attacking and inflicting damage on your opponent. Okay. So if I'm looking at my landlord for an example, let's say for an example, if I'm going to my landlord is singling me out. Okay. Let's say, for example, my landlord is singling me out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus my intent through remote viewing. I'm going to picture my landlord and I'm going to put my intent there. Where do I want to strike? What kind of damage do I want to do? Okay. And like I said, this is offensive black magic. This is baneful and wrathful magic. So you're doing this to hinder your opponent. You're utilizing this within a form of jinx, hex, or curse. Okay? Offensive magic. And I'm singling a certain portion, like say, if I want to remove, I'll go for the heart. I will corrupt that heart. I will damage that heart. If I want to go for the kidneys or the stomach to cause pain, to cause irritability, then I'm going for that one location where it's going to do the most damage. This is why it helps to know the human body, to know what you can do from nerves to certain organs that are vital. Okay. When you hinder a certain organ, let's say, for an example, you clog up a kidney. What happens to that kidney? It produces a lack of blood flow, which kind of hinders the functioning of that kidney. Okay. It would be like a clogged artery, if you will, in the heart that causes cardiac arrest. A blood clot going to the brain can result in a stroke. You know, there's different aspects of what you can do from a spiritual perspective. Okay. And it's all about implying your intent. You can utilize effigies like a voodoo doll, a photo, whatever it will help you produce that intent through emotion, through emotional release, through um, pure rage, if you will, to of what they're doing. Okay, so that's offensive magic right there. Now, defensive magic. This is something completely different because you want to use this for protection. Okay, defensive magics are things like protective seals, protective phylacteries like amulets or talismans. Things like crystals and gems, things that will help your vitality, things that will help with prosperity. Okay, things that will be like reversals or cloaking. Cloakings are very cool because they're used for hiding you from your enemies and from your opponents, those that would do you harm. Reversals are simplistic because whatever's coming at you is reflected back to the sender. Things like what's that term? Things that would, cancel out all negative energy. Okay, things that would cancel out um, the bad mojo, if you will, if it comes at you. These are all good. But one of the things that I would recommend is learning vampiric practices because vampiric practices are useful in many different ways. One, you can use the pain of somebody else to increase your vitality, your benefits. If they're sending you negative thoughts, negative intent, then you can utilize that for your benefit and turn it into something positive because it's all energy based. So, this is something of offensive tactics that you can do, defensive tactics rather, that you can do to aid in your spiritual work, not just your physical work. So, if your opponent is coming at you, you can deflect it right back to them. You can utilize them to kind of just say, hey, I'm going to hex you and just kind of teach you a lesson. Or you can turn it into a jinx and give that person bad luck. Okay. You can even turn it into a curse and remove that obstacle to cancel it completely out so that that person or that energy will no longer affect you. Okay. Now, like I said, this all revolves around your emotional and physical state. This is why it's important for you to delve into meditation, self reflection, work with Kundalini and chakras. Because if you're not healthy, how do you expect your magic to become more potent? In fact, how do you become more potent as a witch or a warlock? Okay. How do you become more potent within your practices on all levels? Because you got to remember that there are three levels here: family life, business, and spiritual. Okay. We are spiritual because we work with demons, we work with the various different types of entities, be it reanimated spirits, ancestral magics. We're dealing with demons, jinn, angelics, okay, and not just them, the old gods, okay. So we're utilizing a lot of spirituality here when we call upon these beings for certain knowledge, certain guidance, okay. We can apply these techniques to business to help with wealth and financial aspects of prosperity, to benefit our families through protection. Okay. Wardings are very, very good, but it comes down to you as the practitioner. All right. So you want to look at things from protections and ruins. Okay. What type of magic are you doing and what do you need to employ? I recommend getting into phylacteries. I recommend getting into spiritual warfare, okay? Because spiritual warfare plays into basically all levels. Every system of magic, from left hand path to right hand path, has employed these. For an example, if we take the phylactery, say the talisman or the amulet, Jewish and Hebrew customs utilize these things. Hell, if you go into Catholic practices, both Roman and Catholicism aspects of Romans belief structures, they're utilizing a rosemary, which is considered to be a phylactery. Okay. If you're on the left hand path, things like rings, silver, very, very good for protection. You know, I mean, hell, if you look at a Maimon or Astaroth, silver ring held close to the face protects you from the foul breath that would pierce you like spears. Okay? Prime example. Okay? So, knowing your practice, knowing your overall abilities and aspects of practice will benefit you because you're looking, like I said, you're looking at gems, you're looking at stones, you're looking at phylacteries of various different types. Now, I'm talking amulets, talismans, relics. You're looking at spiritual warfare through defensive and offensive magics. You're working with the kundalini and the chakras to help you fit into that whole resonance aspect of the current. You're utilizing so many different aspects that it is wise for you to actually delve into these practices on a serious basis for prosperity. Okay. But the rest of it and how you utilize that, that is solely up to you as the practitioner. But when I tell you that every single religious practice utilizes this, not joking. All right. But warfare is all around us. We're doing battle with our own families, be it over finances, be it over loyalty, to your mate, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever. Be a wife, husband, infidelity type stuff, trying to keep your finances, in check so that you're dealing with, keeping a roof over your head and that of your family, keeping your family provided for. You're looking at protections for your family. You're looking at a whole wide range of things that fall underneath warfare. So it's not just at the workplace. It's not just dealing with your family. It's not just dealing with spiritual matters of hostile forces. And you look at the Devi, look at the Jinn. Okay, you have both baneful and wrathful spirits, those that are beneficial to the practitioner. It is said that these spirits teach you lessons. They will help you be prosperous. Okay, the Greek variation of daemon, for example, is one that is similar to an angel. Somebody who is how should I say this? Somebody who will teach you and guide you to what you need. Look at that of Raphael to that stands against Asmodeus, Book of Tobit, prime example. Look at Michael versus Belial, Scroll of Amun from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, every system of magic has an opposing force, one that has been plenteous to mankind, and another one that is wrathful or baneful, hostile. So on one hand you have the daemon, on the other hand you have the cocoa daemon. Okay, this is just the Greek metaphor. Okay, the cocoa daemon is a being that is completely hostile towards humanity, kind of like the Petrol and the Loa, the second class Loa family. Okay, a lot of practitioners will say, "Hey, be careful when utilizing the Petrol. They're not very beneficial, but they can be. They can be chaotic. They can be um, pleasant to work with one moment and baneful and hostile the next. But hey, how do you know that unless you work with them? Again, you have to know what you're doing. Okay. So even if you get into powders, like say, let's say for an example, scorpion powder or scorpion oil from Brujeria or Santeria practice, Pedomambi practice of this is very potent. It would be like putting a toxin, say hemlock or Oriolander, for an example, into a drink. Ricin, you know, touch it, you get infected. There's no cure for some of the for any of the scorpion venom. Not like there is today for many of the poisonous snakes, or that of, say, spiders, such as the black widow or the recluse. You know, the wolf spider, for an example. I mean, you look at how big those bites can actually get when the venom goes into your skin. It's almost like a wart, but huge. Okay, there are different types of powders, different types of alchemical practices that you can use. In voodoo, you use certain things like the gases from toads. You use the venoms from tree frogs. And this is good. This is good for hallucination and control. But you can also use different aspects of items that will be beneficial per practitioner. So you have to know what you're talking about and you have to know what you're practicing. Okay? Especially for offensive or defensive spiritual matters. Okay? You have to have that link, you have to have that effigy, you have to have that connection with that individual. A black candle can be used to charge the powder or the salt for protection or for a hex. Again, know what you're doing. All right. So, when you get into spiritual warfare or physical warfare, I want you to take a moment to actually go through the items and the tools that you can use. There's a lot that you can use and there's a lot that you can do that will benefit you on many different levels. Okay. So, with that said, have a good day. I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. I just wanted to put that out there for you because I thought it might help you. All right. Enjoy.